It's 2014, I'm here at Corney and Barrow to have my first chat of the year with Mumdance. Here we are this week, sent out to Mumdance for coming down. Happy New Year, firstly. And yeah, thanks for taking out some time in what seems to be a mad, hectic schedule of production and all sorts for you, which we're going to
That's it, man. Thanks for having me.
You've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I think the first stuff I heard from you was the stuff you were doing with Jammer.
Yeah, that was about 08, 07, 08?
Yeah,
Yeah,
seems to be a while ago.
Yeah.
What was it that really got you into production? What was it that made you want to become a producer?
Well, I always put my career into 3 waves, basically. First wave was just when I was learning. When I first come through, I used to work for putting on raves in Brighton.
Okay.
Drum bass raves with the guy who used to run Sounds of the Underground recordings, you know, that record label, they put out Original Nutter and that. And it used to be called Meltdown. I think he started Movement as well, you know that one that used to be in Club Rumba. But yeah, I used to do raves with him, and he had an office with a studio in it, and Ed Solo and Brocky used to come record there all the time, so that's why I really cut my teeth, just sort of hanging around the studio with them. It was Ed Solo's studio. I used to just hang around, just learning the ropes, you know, seeing how it all happened and that. And then from that, I started working in London for Vice magazine, putting on their events, and they had a label as well, and they put out the Black Lips.
Oh right, yeah.
The band The Black Lips, and Diplo did a remix of The Black Lips, and then I took his remix and did a bootleg of the remix, if you see what I mean, yeah. And then got Jammer to do a 16 bar on it. And literally, it was MySpace time. So MySpace it to Diplo, didn't think anything of it, and then 2 weeks later, he signed me. He put it on the thing. It was getting played on Radio 1. It was getting played on Kiss, and within 3 months, I was about. You know what I mean?
You ended up doing an EP on Man Decent.
I did, yeah. I did.
Was that how that came about?
That was it, yeah. I did. Well, after that, 2 weeks later, he asked me to remix Santa Gold. You know, there's that Top Ranking project, and then
on all the adverts.
That was it, yeah. And then. So I did a remix of Creator, and it got Jammer, Badness, Chronic, Rage, and Tempa T on it, just to vocal the thing, you know, and just sort of cut up the instrumental to their vocal a little, and that was it. So it just went from there, really.
So was obviously coming from a background of drum and bass, hardcore, that kind of vibe. How was it? What was it that switched you on to grime, or was it just kind of working in the Vice magazine?
Grime always excited me, man. It's the first time I heard it. Like I say, I used to listen to Rinse and all that sort of stuff, and it used to be none of my friends would understand it though, and it used to be me, because there's a lot of people who went into grime, you know, a lot of the garage lot, they just didn't like it at all, and so I'd just go to raves I'll just go, whenever they come down to Brighton, Roll Deep or whatever, I used to go and see them by myself, you know, no one used to come with me and stuff, and I just been interested in it from the start, you know, just the beats. I always like the awkwardness of the beats, you know, and the space of it, and so it's just ever since I first heard it, you know, ever since I first heard Ice Rink and stuff like that, I've just been drawn to it. So it's just a natural thing, you know, organic, sort of just went in that direction.
You said Ice Rink there as well, and I think listening to a lot of the stuff that you've been doing recently, it's almost like you're kind of bringing forward some kind of revolution in that sound again. It's coming back through. Was that something that you did on purpose, that whole Ice Rink sound, or was it?
It's just more to do with space. It's more to do with the texture. I like the fact that the way those instrumentals sound, they sound like they've been made not on a computer, because a lot of, you know what I mean, they sound like they've gone through a desk and they've got a abrasiveness to them, rather than, they don't sound like, a lot of the tunes these days, they sound like they started in a computer and they just stay in a computer, you know, and it's got a certain sound to it, which there's nothing wrong with that sound, you know, but the sound that I grew up with, Dillinger, you know, all the old drum and bass lot, all the hardcore lot, they were using old samplers, they were using desks and sequencing from a computer and then running it all out, recording it to DAT or whatever, and it's got a sound to it, and that sound's just the sound that I'm not trying to do anything, it's just the sound that I like, you know, because I grew up with it, you know, so what me and what Logos is doing as well is just trying to echo that, you know, just sort of it's just what feels right to our ears. Yeah, So if we fast forward a little bit, you've made the move from software to hardware.
I'm guessing last year, Twists and Turns, that was the product of the change.
That's it, yeah.
Talk us through the process of that a little bit.
So with Twists and Turns, what it was is, because I was away for a bit, you see people who come away and they get forgotten about. You know, stuff moves so fast in music. You know, you got to realise there's if you're not on point, there's 100 kids sitting on the bench, you know, waiting. You know what I mean? And like things just move so quickly. So I was just off the radar. 2 years down the line, of putting nothing out, literally off the radar. So what I wanted to do was just to show people that I've been busy. So I do this podcast series called Different Circles, which I then turned into an event, which is at Queen of Hoxton, and it's been at Notting Hill Arts Club as well. So the idea was to do east, west, north, south ones.
Right,
but
okay.
I kind of got sidetracked halfway through doing that. But and now the idea for this year is to turn it into a label. So
right.
we laid the foundations for the first release. We're just waiting for them to come in, but it's going to be a devil mix vinyl.
Nice.
Icy blue devil mix vinyl. 4 devil mixes from a few. I won't say the producers yet, but
all right.
Yeah, but it's sounding good so far. Yeah.
Wicked.
So,
sounds interesting. So on touching on that, this whole resurgence of this sound, like that you have obviously been a big part of. Nights like Box, artists like Slack, Mr. Mitch, all those crew. Does it feel like there's a scene building, or does it feel like more like you guys just kind of on the same wavelength?
Do you know, it's like a beautiful time for instrumental grime and music as a whole, I think, because like it's just a load of people talking. They're all talking, sharing ideas, sharing music, going to raves, like meeting up, going to raves, enjoying ourselves, enjoying the music. And as I say, it's just something that just seems to have happened organically. And like I don't really know why it's happened, but I don't know. We just sort of like I don't know how it's happened. Really,
it's definitely pricked the ears of the press and the media, and that seems to have built a nice buzz around it.
Definitely, but like I mean, Box is good because whenever you go to Box, it's just all the heads, and you'll see there'll be journalists in there. I'm sure it feels like I've heard from Blackdown saying it felt like when Dubstep started. Yeah. Like when the Forward days and stuff, which I'm sure you were around for.
Oh,
just like it feels. I draw parallels to that. It just feels like there's a lot of people who are just into music, going and getting drunk and listening to beats. You know what I mean? So yeah. With
the sound at the moment being like quite heavily instrumental, do you foresee MCs becoming a part of this new movement as well?
I think that what we're talking about now, like. It's a micro genre of grime, essentially. 90% of grime don't know what we're doing at the moment, and I think it's only a matter of time before the producers that are making instrumental grime, they'll start working with MCs. Once the MCs clock it, I feel that they'll just start working with them.
It definitely feels like there's almost two factions in the grime scene at the moment. There's the kind of like, you know, like the Spookies and Logan Samas, and then there's you guys doing your thing, but it's kind of all fits under the same umbrella.
Definitely, man. I don't think it's a case of factions. I just think it's a case of people. Yeah, in fact, you could call it a faction, but it's just. I don't think there's animosity. I think it's just people.
It's almost like two different groups of heads, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, it's just like, but equally, I was speaking to Jammer the other day, and he was just saying like, everything's got really trappy in grime, like trappy orientated, and I just feel like I found that quite weird because it's drawing influence from like a US sound, whereas grime's always been quite UK centric.
I always noticed that as well. I think around about 2006 when like the whole mixtape culture in grime started, and everyone kind of left the radio. They weren't making music anymore. Everything was being held back for their mixtapes because they took that cue from the US rap scene and the whole underground mixtape movement that was happening over there. And I felt that like slowed grime down a little bit. And I mean, I heard your track with Novelist recently, and that was like, wow, we're kind of back to where he was. And for me, that's where grime needs to be at. So I'm really looking forward to hearing MCs working with like what you guys are doing.
Do you know what? Yeah, Novelist is a switched-on kid. Yeah, he's the future Novelist. He knows exactly what he's talking about. He's a pleasure to work with, and he's a sick MC, like really, really good MC. And what he likes, it's kind of interesting as because he's from Lewisham, which is like where a lot of that road rap sort of thing come from.
Essentials and all those guys.
But Novelist, you know, he's like 16 years old, you know, so it feels to me like you know, it always goes in rebellions against the things. So he's gone right back. He's like, all the kids in front of him are all road rap, all the older kids. So it feels like he's looking before. Do you see what I'm saying? Like rebelling against coming back to the old school grime. It's all like circles, you know
Full
what I mean?
circle,
yeah. So, but Novelist is switched on, man. He's good, and so expect to see a lot more from him.
Wicked.
This year. Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
So talking of things moving into the future, you've got a release coming on Unknown to the Unknown, is it this month?
I've got A release with Unknown to the Unknown coming up, the Springtime EP,
Yep.
which is coming out in a couple of weeks. And then after that, Pinch and I have done that tune Turbo Mitzi, which is coming out, which is kind of like a reference in old sort of like Doc Scott Metalheads vibes. And that's coming out on Tectonic. And then after that, I think I'm doing something with Rinse, this Novelist tune.
Wicked.
We're gonna do this with Rinse, and I'm just writing the rest of it. So yeah, that's me for the next few months.
So Mumdance, thanks very much for spending some time with us.
Absolute pleasure.
Yes, as always, and looking forward to everything that 2014
Definitely,
and onwards
man.
brings for you.
Here's to 2014.
Definitely.
It's going to be a big year.
Definitely.
Big
up.
Nice one.